It is a journey through the Bible with Mukhwana Isaac. Welcome to episode 19. And I welcome you from Uganda Matters Day celebrations that took place yesterday, 3rd, and today, 4th. Of course, we want to thank God for the gift of life. It is a Wednesday, the day that the Lord Himself has made. We now continue drawing lessons from the book of Genesis, and in our previous program we saw this man Isaac, God beginning to fulfill his promise and of course renewing it, how he got a lady Rebecca, his wife, and of course they produced. Now today I want us to draw some lessons from the 12, actually, from the 12 tribes of Israel. Beginning, of course, here we shall talk about Jacob and his brother, first of all. Rebecca, the wife of Isaac, conceived twins, which caused her much pain in the womb. She asked God for the reason why there was too much pain. But before I give the answer that God gave her, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples born of you shall be divided, and one shall be stronger than the other. The elder shall serve the younger. That is chapter 25, verse 23. This was the history foretold of Esau and Jacob. The child to be born first was called Esau, and as such, of course, he had the rights of the eldest son. Normally, Isaac would have passed on to him the blessings promised to him and his father Abraham. But this was not God's plan. Esau's brother Jacob was born with his first holding Esau's heel. This explains the name Jacob, which he was given, for the name Jacob means he follows, overtakes, the supplanter, i.e. the one who takes the rights of another by trickery or by force. But of course, it was by trickery, yes, maybe force, but it wasn't by force. This was just by trickery. Remember, they agreed amongst themselves. Yes. So, but of course, the mom also did something for that blessing to come to Jacob. Now, to explain how Jacob got the blessing given to Abraham and Isaac, the writer tells us how the hungry Esau, after a day of hunting, returned home very hungry, and he sold his right to the blessing of his father to Jacob for some food. Food has brought issues. Food has caused challenges in many communities. Now this young man gives his blessing for food. Now Jacob, therefore, had the right to the blessing from that moment. He was given it his brother. You see, though I think the mom didn't know that they had agreed. That's why she used the other method. Esau seems to have forgotten his promise, so that when Rebekah heard Isaac telling Esau to prepare a meal for him in preparation for his giving the blessing to him, she told Jacob to pretend as Esau in order to get the blessing which had become his right. Now here we see that Rebekah and Jacob knew that this was okay. They knew that this way of getting the blessing was wrong. For Jacob was afraid, and Rebekah took upon herself the curse that Jacob knew would come. We read this in chapter 27, verse 12 to 13. Thinking that Jacob was Esau, especially after Jacob had lyingly said that he was Esau, Isaac gave him the blessing. Although Isaac had been tricked, the blessing had been given to Jacob, who in fact had the legal right to it. The means with the which Jacob used to get the blessings were sinful. Stealing is bad. But because of his right to the blessing, he did receive the true blessing of his father. The other ones had agreed because of food. Food. But if you want to see the true characters of man, bring food. Maybe you are in a meeting and the catering services beginning to organize and set plates, see food before people, and they say, please march majestically to the tent where there is food. You will see confusion. You will see confusion everywhere. Food. Now this man also gives out his blessing because of food. He was hungry. So you realize that God allowed his promise to Abraham to continue through Jacob. Not because he had deceived his father Isaac and got the blessing, but because there are a number of things, and we might go through the reasons to justify his remaining blessed in the next episode. Thank you. This is Mukhwana Isaac. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed.